poppin', B? Purpok here, and welcome back to another episode of Race the Ramen, the show where I attempt to review something unscripted in the amount of time it takes to boil an instant ramen. And today, we'll be taking a look at Ne Cha 2, showing now in movie theaters. Alright, we're going to start the timer right now. Okay. So, Ne Cha 2. I bet a lot of you people watching this right now have some questions. Those probably being, what is this Ne Cha that you speak of? And are you even pronouncing that right? I'll just address this right away. I'm not sure. I looked up how to pronounce this properly. It is a Chinese film, and I believe it's meant to be, spoken in Mandarin. So I'm trying my best to pronounce it here as accurately as I can, but I got kind of differing results when I look stuff up. Please just know that I'm sorry if I get anything wrong, and I'm trying my best here as an American with little knowledge. But anyways, on that topic of an American with little knowledge, that was me recently. When I first heard about Ne Cha 2, and the fact that, out of nowhere, this movie seemed to have very suddenly become the highest grossing animated film of all time. An achievement that Inside Out 2 managed to achieve less than a year ago, but it has surpassed, apparently even within its first 3 weeks in the theaters. So, lots and lots and lots of people are seeing this, but most people I know have not heard of this, don't know what it's about. Probably because it's a sequel to a movie that was really big in China back in 2019. Ne Cha, just Ne Cha. And this sequel, 5 years in the waiting, I'm not sure how long they were making it, but 5 years since the first one, comes out. And not only is it literally now like the 7th highest grossing movie of all time or something, maybe the highest grossing non-English language movie ever. And again, I'll repeat, the highest grossing animated movie of all time now. Critics are saying it's fantastic. And the few people I've heard online who have seen this movie are saying, you need to see this. And I would like to formally join that small crowd in saying, you need to see this. Because Ne Cha 2 is probably the best movie playing in theaters anywhere right now. This movie kicks ass. It is an excellent sequel, an excellent movie, better than the first one in pretty much every way, engaging, funny, heartbreaking, and it's got some of the most fluid, gorgeous animation I've seen in years, and some of, flat out, the best animated action sequences I've ever bared witness to. The consistency between all of these, the scale, the spectacle, and the visual clarity and flow and just creativity of all of it is crazy. And now, I enjoyed the first movie. I rented it so I could get some context for the second one and gave it a watch, and I liked it quite a bit, actually. It's got its flaws, but I'd give it like a solid 7 or an 8. And I was like, alright, this is a solid foundation, nothing too crazy, but it's got some strong highlights and some cool strengths. So I was definitely excited to see what this sequel would do. And it does so much. It develops all of the characters, and I mean all of the characters that you remember from the first one in some meaningful way. It is really rewarding for those who watch the first film. You could go into this blind. It has a recap at the beginning to give you a basic idea. But I think a certain amount of the impact would be lost without, the greater context from seeing the first film. But, oh man, there's so much, passionate drama going on, interpersonal character drama, insanely fascinating, fantasy elements and mythological concepts brought to screen. There's just cool set piece after cool set piece in this movie over and over. And I understand I'm just kind of gushing right now. I'm not doing much to describe the specifics, but it's kind of hard to. One, as a sequel to a movie, and two, as a sequel to a movie that most people outside of China seemingly not only haven't seen, but haven't really heard of. And I'd like to help change that, because, the word's picking up, and I'm not worried about it failing. It's literally making more money than most movies ever could already, and that's great. I think it deserves that success. But I really want people to check this out for themselves. Rent the first movie, see if you like it, and if you do, check this out, because seriously, in this era of just like all these like whatever cinematic universes and prequels and sequels and blah blah blah, red Hulk is red now, whatever the garbage, we have a genuinely excellent, almost like Spider-Verse level impact animated film playing in theaters right now that is simultaneously making all the money in the world, while like a good portion of the world seems to be completely ignorant of its existence. It has like 5 critical reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, even though it has like a 99% fresh audience rating. The world makes no sense. Someone explain this to me. That might have been more rambling than usual, but hopefully that gives you a decent impression of what I think of the film. I really think that if you are a fan of action movies, of important movies in general, movies that'll just like move the medium forward, if you are someone who cares a lot about animation, and you're always like animation to cinema and you want to try and watch stuff that's not Disney or Pixar, go see this. I'm imploring nearly every film buff who is even remotely interested in this film franchise to go check this out, because while this movie has definitely succeeded by pretty much every metric, I think more people in more places should see it and bear witness to like just this excellent thing these people have made. Like a heartful, entertaining, hilarious, action-packed epic of a movie that has some pretty fucking massive balls for an animated film that is presumably, if not entirely meant for families, suitable for families and lots of kids, but man. I have not seen such just like lovingly crafted animation, excellent punching, intriguing fantasy, and like just emotionally like on fire, bursting with flames voice acting. Like all of this stuff comes together to make just an excellent movie. And more people need to see it. More people should check out the first Ne Zha so they can watch this one and understand what peak is. Because it's like I know people throw around terms like this out, like, oh, this is peak, and America could never do this. But for real, at least in the state that the American animation industry is right now, I literally could not. I could not imagine America doing this. At the very least, we're decades off from this, because this shit rips. I love it. I love this movie, and I can't wait for a third if they're making one. And I'd gladly watch a third if they did. I give Ne Zha 2 a 9 out of 10. And honestly, it is so close to a 10. If it weren't for the kind of sequel hook, post-credit scene ending, and the kind of inherent connectivity to the first movie that makes it impossible for it to truly stand on its own, this is just like an achievement. For what from what I understand to be like a budget of roughly $80 million, like basically like just making a sequel to some movie from 5 years ago based on some 16th century novel. I will put the name on screen right now. I should have brought that up earlier. Like, they created this wonderfully engrossing and excellent among its peers example of what it is. This like good versus evil kind of anime charged like soap opera dramatic thing. And it's great. You should see it. It had my theater rolling, laughing and crying and cheering. And yeah, if you don't see this movie, you are robbing yourself. This is an excellent film, and I already have made plans to go see this again with a friend who hasn't seen the first one, because I want to see what his reaction is to this blind. His face may very well melt. Like, again, I want to emphasize, this is not a perfect movie, but this is a really, really good movie, and dare I say, it's important. If this is not like a trailblazer and an example setter for like other filmmakers, especially animated filmmakers and animators, for years to come, and this doesn't start some sort of like big new movement of inspiration from this film, I'd be shocked. I feel like they're screening a classical painting in theaters right now, and its name just happens to be Ninja 2. Check this shit out. Please. Because if you go to see Red Hulk movie instead of this, you don't deserve nice things.